All right, we got my man Austin Jackson. He found his ways in the studio, but he found his way on the Spark. 9-time big leaguer, one of my really good friends, and one of my really, really good mentors, Austin Jackson. Man, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Nah, man, I appreciate you for having me, D-Rob, man. This is I think this is my first one. I've done something like this, but not quite like this, man. This should be fun, bro. Thanks for having me, bro.
Let's just get right into it, man. I mean, like I said, 9 years in the big leagues, umpteen different teams. I think you played for 7 different squads. What do you got for me, man? You were drafted in the 8th round by the Yankees in 2015. Your career lasted a long time, man. You think it's close to 15 years, 16 years total. What are some of the things that you remember? Some good time to reminisce.
Dude, man, I remember all of it, man. From the drafting process, being in high school, just hearing that, hey, you could become a major league baseball player. I remember all those conversations, hearing it from teachers, reading it in papers, and just having that, walking around school and people like looking at you different, because you're about to, they can kind of see it, coming. They've been, people that, your friends and stuff been around you for 4 years. They like, man, this is really about to happen. I'm like, I guess it is really about to happen. You know what I mean? So I remember that all the hype or whatever coming up into, to the draft, and and just remember the whole draft process like it was yesterday, and getting drafted to the Yankees in the 8th round, and really was history after that, because I had my mindset that, hey, I'm making it to the big leagues with the Yankees no matter what, and this is that was what was going to happen for me. And obviously it didn't happen that way, but just having that mindset, of coming out of high school, 18 years old, you thinking you about to play with Jeter, like, and everybody else thought that too. Everybody's like, hey, man, I don't see you playing right now. I'm like, yeah, you don't, because I'm in Tampa. I already have my game. My game was at 12 o'clock. Y'all didn't see that. It was
right.
107.
You're right. It's not like, the NFL. Sometimes people realize that. It's not the NFL. When you're drafted, you're not showing up to training camp, man.
Nah, you didn't see me?
I'm on field 6. You didn't see me because I was on field 6. Jeter's on field 1.
They don't even have a backstop over here. We just over here
on the half field. We're working on steel breaks on the half field.
But we playing though. Like, we over here really getting it in until somebody smack one. But but I remember all of that, man. And I remember the trade when it happened. And I remember, at that time, me being very, just upset, because I already had that vision. But, the vision was to get to the big leagues, and getting traded to the Tigers, obviously that was the best thing that ever happened for me. That started my big league career, and I made a career out of it. So.
And that's the thing, right? People don't understand. I mean, it's a cliche. Once you get drafted, you're playing for 29 other teams. So obviously there was some point along the line that the Tigers were following you very closely. But let's take a step back and go back to that Yankee process, because you were around some of the best in the game. And do you feel like there were certain moments that they came up to you and gave you some advice? Or do you feel like you were pretty quiet and you just went about your business, and then whatever happened sort of approach?
I mean, I think it was a little bit of both, honestly, D-Rob. Like, it was, I didn't want to, my personality, I joke around a lot. I like to see people smile and laugh. That's just, it's just kind of how I'm brought up, and how I've always kind of just, built relationships, making people laugh, and then, make people feel comfortable. So you know, that personality came out when I was in the locker room. But here I am, you know, I'm an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid around Jeter, you know, Alex Rodriguez, Jason Giambi, you know, Sheffield, Sabathia, you know, these guys that are, you know, Hall of Famers in my eyes, and a lot of them are.
I think they're in a lot of eyes. Hall of Famers
Yeah,
in a lot
you
of
know,
eyes.
you know what I'm saying. So it's not, it's you know, it's easy to walk in there, you know, like a deer in headlights, and really just kind of forget what, you know, what the job is, what the, you know, the main focus is. But for me, that was the opportunity for me to ask questions that I, you know, just anything. I didn't care if I was getting on these dudes' nerves. I didn't care if I was kind of like, bro, this shut up for just a little. Like, I wanted to learn from these guys. You know, it's not every day you get to walk into you know, first of all, a big league clubhouse, but then walk into a big league clubhouse full of all-star lineup, bro. Like, literally an all-star lineup. And I didn't care if it was the pitching coach. That was the Hall of Fame pitching coach in my eyes. So I'm talking to everybody. I mean, trainers. And so, you know, how do you rub that hot ice on? You know, how do you do? Like, I was
Every intricacy. It was every
dude,
intricacy.
I literally acted like I was part of the team, but not in a, you know, in a way that was being disrespectful. I just really was. So, you know, I wanted to learn, you know, so much from these guys. And, you know, I gave them that respect I feel like by not being this shy kid in the corner, acting like, oh, no, like, we all in here grown men, you know, and adults. Well, I wasn't necessarily an adult at that time, but, you know,
you were thrust into it.
I'm trying, y'all put me in here with Jeter, and, you know, you know, so, hey, I'm going to take advantage of that. And I did, man. I learned so much about how they, you know, how they carried themselves, like just that demeanor in front of a camera. You know, that was the toughest thing, I think, for me, is just being in front of the camera and trying to talk about things. Like, I didn't know how to do that, but you're seeing guys like a Jeter that is able to get in front of the camera and be so natural, and, you know, just talk about, you know, whatever he needs to talk about with them, answer questions, and then go out and get his work in. You know, for him to be able to separate the two and really get back to business and get back to working, that just helped me see right away. Like, I got to see these things right away. I got to see, like, okay, this ain't what I thought it was. No, these dudes are up here working. These dudes are up here. These dudes are the best for a reason, because they're working. This ain't just all glamorous and, you know, these dudes are lazy. These dudes are working out. They're working on their craft. And that really helped me at a young age see that, hey, if I want to be here, I need to find my way to be like this. I need to walk like this. I need to talk like this. And I started doing it. You know, through the minor league, that's how I talked. I talked like I was one of the big leaguers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, yeah.
It kind of gives me chills, man.
Hey,
because
I'm telling you,
it's just,
I promise you, D-Rod, I acted like that because that's where I wanted to be. So that's how I carried myself, not in a cocky way or in a way like I'm better than you, but like I'm a Yankee. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a Yankee, and that's how, you know, I'm gonna be the center fielder one day. That's how and that gave me that motivation that I needed each and every day. Like, you're a Yankee. You want to be, you know, the next you know, stepping in Bernie Williams' shoes. You got to work for it, and you need to carry yourself that way. Don't come with this shy attitude is you know, like, nah, you know, I just want to just fit in. No. I want to be here. I want to be here. You know, so I'm going to carry myself like I should be here. You know, and that was the mindset for me. Even at that stage, you know, I didn't see minor leagues. I didn't see that. I seen center field in Yankee Stadium all the time, bro. Like, literally all the time.
and it's funny that you say that, right? Because I think the one thing Jeter always depicts back to is, no, ever since I was a young kid, I wanted to play shortstop for the New York Yankees. So when he talks about that, you could see it in your energy. You could see it in your mind. Well, we can't see it in our minds because obviously we were blessed to watch you in a Detroit Tiger uniform.
Sure.
But it's real. It's a real feeling. It's a real feeling that when you want to be somewhere, everything else is secondary. I'm just
Man.
trying to take care of the things that I need to take care of. And what's funny is because you had that unbelievable mindset, but then it parlayed into 7 different big league teams.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you never know when it's going to fall, but who knows if you don't have that mentality, maybe if it's not 7, maybe it's not 7 teams, maybe it's less. We'll never know. But what we do know is that it turned out to be 7. And when, as much as the passion that you have that we could hear in your voice about wanting to be a Yankee and wanting to play center field, learn from Bernie Williams, what was can you remember one, maybe 2 things? I guess you probably heard a million, but 1 or 2 things that one of those future Hall of Famers was able to tell you in a moment that made this game what it is, where someone, a veteran presence, reaches out to a youngster in the game and instills some knowledge into them and says, hey man, this is what I've learned in the game. I hope you can do something with it. Was there one of the players that was able to do that?
Man, it was
It was an
it was quite
onslaught.
it was well, I'll say it was quite a few guys, man, honestly. Even guys probably unexpected, maybe like, and when I say unexpected, maybe just, like from a pitcher. Hearing CC Sabathia, kind of take me, to his locker, and I'm just looking at, and this is just very, on a small scale, I think, but it really, like I said, I took everything that these guys were saying. I wasn't taking nothing with a grain of salt because I knew it was just, they were dropping gold nuggets on me. So, going over to CC Sabathia's locker one day and seeing all these orange boxes, man, and seeing these Jordans, man, in his locker, just like it's just plentiful of just J's and Jordan cleats, 11s, and I'm just like, bruh, this is oof,
Yeah, I mean, at 18 years old,
this is tough for me. I'm trying to get some 11s to walk around in. My man is pitching in these, got the pitching toe on it already. I'm like, man. But I think his demeanor was so chill because he really made me feel like all of this stuff that you seeing and that you are wide-eyed about is just something that comes along with the territory of playing this game and playing it at a high level, and basically staying focused on the task at hand, not getting caught up in it's easy to get caught up in it. Like, everybody wants us to wear Jordans on the base, but that wasn't something that drove him. Me, that, like, at that age, that would absolutely drive me. And that, seeing all of the materialistic things that came with being a big leaguer, oh man, I want that. But it was like he helped me understand that this is not what it's about. It's not about these J's and they tight though. They clean out here. They white and black, this clean. But
and I don't think there's a person out there that ain't gonna take a pair of 11s.
I wear some 11 cleats out if I don't have none. But it really helped me see that this is a guy that could sit back and just bask in his accomplishments, but he is trying to. These guys had a different type of fight that they were fighting, or at least maybe that I don't even know if it was a fight. It's just they had a different mindset. They were not content with the things that they had, man. Like when I sat in that locker and I'm sitting in the locker, you got shoes, around you, and him telling me this is just a part of what comes with success, though. Like, this isn't like I didn't. This isn't like all I've ever wanted in the game. Like I want to establish myself and show people what I'm capable of doing, and that rubbed off a lot on me because I now went from a guy that really liked those type of things, and I still do. I always did, but it took my mindset away from playing for things like that, you know, or trying to get a Nike contract or Adidas contract. It took me away from that, and it's hard. It's hard. But at that age, that's all you see, for him to basically just tell me that all of this will come, but you got to work. This ain't gonna just come just because you a Yankee. And I seen, you know, you look around the locker room, it was like the first place that they stop is the Yankee place. Ain't nobody, they not going nowhere else. They
That's a
going
good
to
point.
the Yankee
That's a good
place
point.
first. And then
That's a
you
good
get
point.
whatever they don't want, first of all. So, you know, these guys, they were taking care in that aspect, but they still were grinding. It's like they still were in that grind. I would see Jeter show up, and this is what really changed my perception about being that first guy there and being ready. And, you know, that's fine if that's you, but Jeter wasn't that type of guy. He would show up a little later, but I'm talking about when he got there, my man did not stop. He didn't stop. He had a routine, and that was his routine every day. He got there and he didn't stop. That was something that I heard one of the trainers tell me. You know, one thing about Jeter is, yeah, you know, he's not necessarily the first guy here or necessarily the last guy to leave, but when he gets here, he doesn't stop working on his craft. Whether it be, you know, needing to get more loose that day than another day, like he didn't just, you know, he get there, he say, hey, what's up, what's going on? And then he was off doing something. He was off handling his business. And at that age, to see that, it changed my perception on how, you know, guys in his position were. Like, how did they get there? They didn't get there from just being cool or looking cool or, you know, got the clean. No, man, these guys worked. That was the best thing to happen for me, to get drafted by them and be able to see that at a young age, because I'd never seen anything like that. You know, all you see is what you see on TV. You see the flash, you see the glory. Oh, that's cool, but guys are working. Guys are working harder. The good ones, the great ones, are working harder than you think they're working. They didn't get there just because of, you know, their name sounded cool, because Derek Jeter sound cool. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I
That
mean,
sounds tight.
his signature is
That sounds tight. You know, like, man, that's cool. Man.
his signature is probably the coolest signature I've ever seen. It's got so many loops and whoops and everything.
Yeah, but it still work its way out,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
My stuff don't work its way out sometimes. I'm like,
I felt like I practiced my signature, and then I've only asked. I've never asked for anybody in the opposing locker room for anything.
Yeah.
But in Jeter's last year, my dad is a huge Jeter fan.
Yeah.
And I asked our clubby, name the price, I'll pay whatever, if you could just get a ball signed by Jeter so I could send it home to my dad. And when I got that ball back and I looked at it, I was like, come on, man, this belongs in like an art studio or something.
Yeah, like, I shouldn't have this. Give this back to him. I'm sorry. Just give it back. I'm sorry I asked for this.
This is too pretty. It's too pretty. It's too pretty. But you talk about how much you saw with the work. What about the other side of it? What about the off the field stuff? I mean, when I was with the Indians and you and I were teammates, I remember going to the cancer treatment center with you, but that's not where you stopped. I mean, our experience at giving back in the community, that was our experience, but you had been doing that for years. I mean, when you were at the Giants, you went to the Ames function.
Mm-hmm.
You've gone to several places in your career, and the importance of giving back to the community. Was that something that you learned with the Yankees, or is that something that's just innate in your heart?
Man, that's a good question, because I think that with the Yankees, I was so focused on the getting to getting to the big leagues. I was so focused on my personal goals, and that's not that's not a bad thing. But I didn't really, I really didn't start giving back, I guess, until I got with the Tigers. There were so many, obviously with Detroit being, very urban, it definitely set up a lot of opportunities for players to get out in the community and talk with underprivileged kids, go to hospitals, and really, connect with people that were, struggling with things in life. That's probably really the first time that I really, really understood how baseball, in general sports in general affects people, man. Like I didn't really think about it like that until, like I said, being with Detroit and being able to get out into, in Michigan and go to different schools, go to different hospitals, and see the love that people have for you in general. Like it changed my whole perception on what, like, I was really doing this for. Like nobody knew me, nobody knows who I am, but they know who I am, and they
That's what you thought. You thought nobody
absolutely
knew you. You thought
right.
nobody knew you.
Thought I was fighting this battle all alone. Like, oh man,
No,
nobody. I'm just here by
no.
myself.
The true fans know who
Right,
everybody is.
right, and that's what really led me to being able to talk to underprivileged kids, being able to talk to cancer patients, because that's tough. That type of stuff has hit home before. So being able to get up and talk in front of, like, basically facing your fears, because I didn't, like I said, me not thinking that nobody knew who I was or cared about who I was, and then to get there and to see that people genuinely cared and have followed you, even when you was with another team in the minor leagues, that changed my whole perception on that and giving back. And I was able to do that a lot more once I actually just, put myself out there and put myself in that crowd of being able to go to a school, because I was scared. I didn't want to go read no book tonight. I was like, I don't want to go read a book. I'm gonna say a bad, I'm gonna mess up this book or something. But these kids weren't. They didn't. It's not what it was about. It wasn't about me being perfect with my grammar or anything. It's about putting that fear aside, get that away, and these kids are looking up to you. People actually look up to you, and your story can change somebody's life. And I didn't realize that until I got to a position where, and gotten the opportunity where I could tell my story, and to see the reaction that I got from fans when we would go on the Tiger Fest, the thing, the little tour you do. I
Yeah.
didn't understand anything about talking to people that I didn't understand that. I didn't think that nobody wanted to hear what I had to say or hear my story, but I was able to relate to so many people by doing that. That made me want to talk, especially to kids, young kids, because somebody is in here listening. Somebody's, because I was that kid that had a professional player at a camp, and I listened to them, and I'm sure a lot of other kids too, but I was that one kid that listened. So when I was able to talk to kids, and I seen their attention, I seen their eyes focus, I was like, they paying attention to me, man. So that gave me a lot of joy to be able to talk to kids, and not only kids, man, but patients in the hospital that are really going through it, and their families was there. And to see me being mad over 0 for 4, and these people are dealing with this is life they dealing with. You know, I'm playing a game. So that changed everything for me. Being able, and also I was able to get over a fear too. You know what I mean? Of talking to, you know, just opening up with people. You know, it really helped me to come out of my shell.
Yeah, that's true. Being vulnerable, it's a
Oof.
tough thing. It's especially when you're a grown man in a city that you didn't grow up in a
Yeah,
city that on paper you don't know anything about. Sure, we could Google it, but there's just something about that human connection. There
sure.
always will be. And I think from now until the end of time, we could talk about, I know fans that hear this and listen to this. I'm sorry you have to pay more to come to watch a baseball game, but there are baseball players that care
Mm-hmm.
and can feel how much the fans care. And I know you know that because I watched a video that I hadn't seen, and I think as we were teammates, I didn't know that you got traded in the middle of a game.
Yeah.
Like, and when I say when we post this, we're gonna have the video so people can watch it. Everybody's gonna know what we're talking about. We're talking about I played with Soria in Texas. Like my man threw a 2-1 slider or a 1-1 slider in the dirt with the bases loaded, and it was ball 2. And then all of a sudden it's hold on. Osmus comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm locked in on a pitch.
Super locked.
Super locked in on a pitch, trying to say, you know what? Look, it's a 5-4 ball game. If this ball hits to me, I got to throw the guy out. It's 5-5.
You know, D. You
We're
already
good.
know.
I
You
know.
know
My
this.
bad. I know.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, I'm saying go
My
ahead,
bad.
but you know what I mean.
But and then all of a sudden, Rajay Davis comes running out to center field, and then you're given 30 seconds to say bye to your teammates. Other than I'm sure that you got to say bye after the game. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay. But in that moment, people don't understand that we're human beings in this transaction. But you got a standing ovation, but your mental fortitude to be able to leave that. Like when people watch this video, to see your mannerisms and to see how much of a pro you were in that. Like you can't teach that, man. Like you can't what prepared you for that moment, or what were you telling yourself? Because as a competitor, as a friend, as a person that's played against you, watching that, I watched some of the most fascinating mental fortitude I had ever seen in my life.
Bro, that was a crazy situation. I was so, like, I mean, you explained it down to the T of the way I was thinking. You know, the I was zoned in on the game because, you know, I had got a couple hits that put us ahead in the game. I think I had made some catches. You know, I'm like, you know, and I'm not talking about these. You know, I wasn't doing stuff like I wasn't hitting bombs or, you know, it was just like clutch base hits. You know, and good swings. Good swings with runner on second, getting runners and staying up the middle. You know, like playing the game, grinding it out, making catches. Just taking away, some base hits. And I was just so focused, man. And then I think I might have turned around and, I could just tell everything was still like after a pitch, you might turn around, kiss some dirt, look up, do whatever to kind of pass that little time. And then you get locked right back in, so I turn around and I see, Osmond's talking to the ump behind the plate. I really didn't think too much of it. I think I might even turn back around, but then I just kind of just felt like this aura in the crowd. Like I just kind of, it's just like a subtle like buildup of like it just kept going. And I just turn around and I just see Rajay running out, and I'm like, I mean, I'm straight. I'm straight. What are you doing? Huh? Are you okay? You coming to replace me? Okay. So still didn't hit me that I've been traded though. Like it wasn't like I've been traded, but I've never been pulled out of a game either, like as a defensive sub too. So it was just so many weird feelings going on. So like you talk about the standing O, like I didn't even get a chance to wrap my brain around that. I didn't get a chance to say anything or acknowledge the fans, which I still feel weird about to this day because it was just like I didn't know. I was so caught off guard because y'all pulled me out of the game. I'm like,
yeah, in the middle. This is literally the middle of the 7th inning with the bases loaded, and my man.
what are you doing? No, fine.
Yeah, we're having an at bat, and
Like,
there probably could have been a different way about it, so you could have gotten your. I mean,
yes.
you were with them for 6 years.
Right. That was the toughest thing after the fact because I was like, I feel like I didn't get to acknowledge the fans, but it is what it is. It was a weird situation, but still, I didn't put it together with him running out there, and then I get to the dugout, and then I think Max Scherzer might have been. He just came up, gave me a hug, so I start hugging people. I'm like. So it's like nobody was saying anything. Like, man, that's messed
no one
up,
had told you anything.
Yeah, man, man, like we love you, man. Like, what? What is going on? Like, what do y'all love? Okay, I love you too, man. Like, all right, bro, already, we good in here. What are you talking about? And then when I get down to the end of the dugout and I see Gene Lamont, man, our third base coach, and he went to he was the bench coach for Leland after. But, he didn't show no type of emotion, ever. Like he wasn't an emotional type dude. At least I thought that. When I seen him crying, I was like, whoa, like this something just happened. Like I just got traded. Cause my man is crying, like, and he don't show that type of emotion, man. Like he don't. He's hard, like old school, like, hey, y'all motherfuckers ain't, like, sorry, right?
We'll cut that. We'll cut it out.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
but y'all, it's just like he had that old school mentality, so it caught me off guard when I seen him crying, man, and it really like hit me then that I must have been traded, man. Like I kind of had this feeling, this weird feeling before the game, because Don Kelly was like, I think we're trying to get Price. And I was like, trying to get Price? Well, who got to go for us to get Price? Like, we got to get to – I'm looking around the room. I'm like, well, he got a contract. Hey, we're not getting rid of him or him. So who else going somewhere? Like, I'm just thinking – I'm like, man, but I didn't let it get – even though I was thinking, I swear, I promise you, I was thinking it, like, I mean, I'm really the odd man out with this, but I didn't tell that to him. I'm thinking this, like, all right, well, whatever. Go around, like I said, blah, blah, give me a couple knocks to help us, make some catches. And when it happened, I still didn't put it together running off the field until I got to the end of the dugout. And I was like, all right, I think I just got traded, man. I think this happened. And then that's when it hit me, but I just still didn't show any type of emotion because I think, like all we talked about, seeing professionals go about their business on a daily basis help, even though I was feeling a certain type of way, it just helped me in that moment to just go about my business and realize that this is a business, so.
It really is, man. As unfortunate as it sounds at times, but kids will find out. You got to find out. You got to go through your own journey. But
yeah,
when you talk about, I think I made a couple catches. I think you know where I'm going with this.
I don't know. You got to let me know, D. Where you going?
There's a night in Fenway where a Hanley Ramirez tried to stay inside something and go into right center. And I vividly remember being in Columbus, and it was shortly, I think it was sometime in August, I had been sent down. And kids are going to have to deal with their own emotions. You know what I mean? I got sent down. I felt like I belonged. That might have been one of the dopest catches I've ever seen. And I couldn't have been so happy for you. And I'm pretty sure I texted you that night, the moment you
Hell
made that
yeah.
play. It was one of the dopest catches I've seen, because I've seen catches on YouTube. I've seen Griffey make catches. I've seen dudes make catches on YouTube, but that's different. Like when you're watching a game live and it's on in your clubhouse and you make a play like that, why don't you take us through that play, man? Because you'd battle some injuries all year.
Yeah.
And for you to make a play like that, man, I felt like it was special to me. I couldn't imagine how special it was for you.
Man, honestly, I remember specifically on that night, it was a little muggy, so I had a good sweat going. You know what I mean? Like I felt my body felt it felt good. Like I felt like I was like 27-ish. So like I just remember I had a good sweat, like, and you probably could tell, you can see the gloss. I was glossy, you know. I was glossy. So my body felt good, but I remember when he hit it, I didn't think he got it like that. Honestly, the ball, it literally, from my vantage point, you know, I'm thinking I seen the trajectory. I knew he hit it over my head. I didn't think it was home run swing type, you know.
I
But
mean,
the way
it's
he
not
hit
short. It's not short to
it's
Fenway and
not at
right
all.
center. So
it's not at all. But when he hit it, he kind of stood there for a second. And as much as you don't realize what you see until you go back and you know, I realized when he hit it and kind of like held it. You know, he held it. So I'm running back, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna have to get by the, you know, probably by the one track, get my steps right, and just make a catch. As I'm running back though, this ball is carrying. Not still thinking either, you know, I'm thinking if this ball goes out, this isn't like a get ready to rob it. I'm just getting ready to like catch it by the fence, or, you know, so I can feel for the fence. And I get back there, this ball it's headed out. But how is it just coming down at that? That's the funny thing. It's coming down like right where I can make a catch on it. So I'm getting to me, it looks like somebody just threw me a oop. I get my steps for like I'm about to catch a oop. And, you know, jumping and catching it, that wasn't even, might sound bad, that wasn't necessarily the hardest part. The hardest part was timing that and when I was going to hit the fence, you know, like, because I'm looking at the ball. I know the fence is coming, but my objective is obviously to get back and put myself in a position to make the catch. And all of that happened before was a blur until I caught the ball. And I just remember seeing I seen the players in the bullpen.
well, you had Blaine Boyer warming up, who I played with in AAA.
Yep.
So I'm watching him and I'm thinking, dang, Blaine, you don't even like, you ain't even gonna help my man up. Like,
he ain't worried about that. He
right?
trying to get. He like, I'm trying to make sure I'm 2 and strike.
He goes 88. He good.
Yeah, but he like, that's why I need to make sure I'm hitting spots.
I hope he watches Blaine. I hope he watches Blaine.
And when he seen it, he didn't even. He just seen the catch like that. He's just like,
the pitching coach was the one that's like, shoom.
Yeah.
He goes to you right away. But the reason why I say that is because I know you're such a big fan and you play with Torrey and you got such a good relationship with him. And I think you guys got two different stories.
Torrey.
For Torrey got a different end of that short wall. Austin Jackson got a much different end.
Torrey's ball. Hey, I'm going to tell you like this. I don't think anybody could have come as close to the ball that that Big Poppy hit for that grab. I don't think it is bad, I guess, as it looked the after.
It didn't look bad at all. It just looked like my man was going for it and he was giving everything.
They freeze it where his feet are like this.
Well, yeah, but those are people freezing it that never played the game before.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't know what it's like to play in a World Series.
Dude, the effort, I'm not joking. It was literally a line drive, and Torrey if it wasn't for the wall, I think he would have caught this ball. Like, it's unreal to me to because I'm seeing it.
You're talking about the original Spider-Man, so I'm not putting anything past him.
He literally almost caught this ball, dude, like a home run line drive if it wasn't for the fence, man. And, it was two different outcomes, but I just knew that the way I seen him go over the fence, I was like, I don't want to land like that. So
yeah,
I'm going.
Well, you did. Yeah, you did. You would know it. It's cool because they show a different angle of it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy in its own spectacle because of how high you go up with actually really no care for the fence is what it looks like.
Yeah.
But then, because you're a righty.
Yeah.
So if you're going over with your left arm, I'm going over Fenway, catch. I don't have an arm to brace me, but you found a way to brace yourself as you flipped over it, which probably plays into the way that you just said. You were feeling 27-ish. And when we go
I grabbed that wall and held on.
When we go, you probably grabbed the wall harder than you grabbed the catch.
No, I did. No. After I caught the ball, the catch was, I caught it. But after that, it was like, hey, bro, when them legs, listen, when your legs get clipped, hey, everything gets serious. Everything get, hey, ho.
I played wide receiver. I played wide receiver before, man. But that takes me to, you did an interview one time with Rawlings, and you swear by that Rawlings, man. You never used another glove.
I didn't.
So in that moment, you give him a little call like, appreciate doing business with you.
I need another one. I need another 4 in my locker when we get back.
All you did was call them, and then when they answered, you played a DJ Khaled clip. It was like another one.
And another one.
And they were like, and then they hung up, said Austin needs 4 more.
He needs 4 gloves. And I'm pretty sure they get. Can
you make sure you put the gold on the back, please? He likes the all black gloves.
Let me get that gold on there one time, man.
I love it.
Playing with me.
I love it, man. Well, you should have had a rookie of the year. I don't know why they gave it to Nistali Feliz. I get it. He had 40 saves, but
pretty impressive when you think about it.
It is.
Pretty impressive.
He rehabbed. I remember one time I was in AA in 2012, and he came down throwing 100, 101. And our team, if anybody, it doesn't really matter, but our AA team won 101 games. We scored 20 runs 3 times in a week one time. Our team was absurd. We had, I think, the most big leaguers ever to play in the big leagues from a AA team. Weren't too far removed from 19 big leaguers that ended up playing in the big leagues from our low A team. We had 19,
really?
19 on our Fort Wayne team. And we had our 1, 2, 3 leading off the inning. And I'm not saying that against a big league guy, that's a special thing, but he came down, I think he threw 11 pitches, and he struck out all 3 guys. And no, I take that back. Blake T. Cody lined out, and a guy made a diving play in the outfield. Mm-hmm. But he was sitting 98 to 101, and I had never seen anything like that.
It's easy though.
It really was. It was
easy. It was effortless. It seemed. It was just not. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't care. It just was so nonchalant though to just throw 100. Though he just get up there and be like, got to do this again.
Yeah, it looked like somebody standing 30 feet away, and you're just trying to, like, that's what it looked like. It looked like 101.
Yeah,
101,
it's
and it was from like right here.
Yeah, it wasn't over the top. It was another one of them dudes that just kind of show you like the ball like right here, like that. It wasn't like you didn't get to see all of like me coming at you. It was just like, here go 100. Yeah, that's out. Yeah, that's out of my hand already. So.
It was crazy because my rookie year in 2014, he was a shell of his former self. He was like 90, 91. And
yeah.
Every now and then he might pop one at 94.
Yeah.
But it was how baseball is, man, when it comes full circle and you see things and you feel like you're at the top of your game and then things happen. Because I do remember we we had gone to a dinner spot that night, and he had gone to the same one, and he had, his entourage with him. And I remember thinking, damn, Neftali Feliz, he's a. But fast forward, when I made my debut 2 years, 2 years to the day later, it was crazy to see him in a completely different limelight of how humbling
Mm-hmm.
this game is, man. And when you start talking about being humble and how crazy this game is, there's there's some kids out there that are going to watch this clip and that are dreaming, trying to find something. How do I get to the big leagues? Maybe Austin Jackson's got something for me. What would you tell a kid right now that has dreams of making to the big leagues? How would that kid become a big leaguer?
Honestly, and I mean, it might sound cliche. I'm not sure what somebody's used to hearing, but I think, having fun is where it's going to start. If you're not having fun in the game of baseball, then it's going to be hard to. You have to love it. You have to love it, and you want to have fun doing this. It's not a job yet. It's not a job. Don't treat it like a job. Have fun. And that's really what I could remember growing up, is I really enjoyed playing the game of baseball. I enjoyed it. I had fun playing baseball. It wasn't a job to me yet. I didn't, nobody explained it to me that way. And I'm glad they didn't, because that one day, hey man, this could be a job for you, not until later on,
Right.
later on, in life did somebody say that. But to guys that are in high school, or even younger than that, I know nowadays that it's starting to change, with the coaching, and everybody's looking at the big league level, and what these guys are doing. But it's not about that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. You can't look at what a big leaguer is doing and think that, okay, if I just start going to do that in the cage, then that's going to work. It's a process with everything that you're going to do. And to me, it starts at a young age, and it started with me just enjoying. Now, I looked at big leaguers. I loved watching Griffey and Juan Gonzalez and Pudge Rodriguez, and all these guys play. And I even imitated them in the mirror and did the Griffey. I was righty, hitting like Griffey, wore 24, had the jerk, had all of that. But I was having fun playing baseball. And I think that sometimes now it can get to where, everybody's trying to put everybody in a cookie cutter and make it like, well, this person is doing this at this level, so if you start doing that, you're going to be successful and you're going to be a big leaguer. It just don't work like that, man. We know that best, that you got to be your own person first. But, that is the biggest thing that I would give to young athletes, young baseball players, is to have fun, because this is it's not a job yet. This, it's not a job. It's not what you're doing for a career. And if you're not enjoying it like that, how are you going to get better? How are you going to see yourself doing this in the future if it's just all serious right now? Like, nah, man, we had fun playing. We enjoyed playing. Every time we hit the field, it was fun. We could, it's competitive, and yeah, it is serious when you're out there, but you got to be, because you enjoy doing it. So if it's just you're seeing, I just want to be like this person and do with it, then it's it might work for you. I don't know, but I don't think that that's the recipe to being successful, is to just copy what you see somebody else doing that might have been successful for them. You have to enjoy this game and enjoy everything about it, and compete. I've told kids that before. Just compete. compete, man. Like there's no magic recipe to tell somebody how to be successful. It's just you gotta enjoy it though. If you enjoying something, you'll put a lot more effort, and you'll probably get a lot different response from whatever you're doing, because you're not doing this for a job or for money. You're doing it because you enjoy it. You're doing it because you love it, and nobody can take that away from you, man. If you have that type of drive, I mean, there's no telling where you can end up, man. So that's the biggest thing that I would say for kids that, are looking for just something, and it's not like, oh man, no, man, it's just right there. You can enjoy this game, you can enjoy
Mhm.
it, work hard, and the sky's the limit really for what you're able to achieve. You gotta believe it. And that's one thing that I learned from you, D-Rod. You gotta believe,
Oh,
man.
man.
I promise, bro. I promise, man. It's a lot of things we talk about, man, and that have helped me out. Even when we met, in with Cleveland, bro. Hearing you tell me, your story, but mainly just you didn't have this ego. You didn't have this persona of like, I'm trying to fit in. You didn't get there by trying to fit in. You enjoyed playing the game. You loved it, and it showed in your craft. It showed in the way you showed up every day. And I mean that helped me realize that whatever I'm going through, like, hey man, like, hold up, let's get back to the basics real quick. Let's get back to enjoying this game. Let's get back to competing. Cause that's all I ever seen out of you. That fire, that spark, that spark, that's what that is, bro. That's exactly what that is. That's
It's
you loving the game, wanting to win, wanting to compete. And that shows, man, in everything that you're about. You know what I mean? So
I
that's
mean,
good
I,
stuff,
I
bro.
mean, I appreciate that, man. But
Good.
again, I hope the kids grabbed from something that you said, but something I think that a lot of people talk about at our level. You have enough fun, man, and you take care of your craft. When you swipe that little plastic thing, it'll never tell you declined, ever. It never will.
You're right.
You continue to have fun what you're doing and caring about what you're doing and having pride in what you're doing. That little plastic card will never say decline.
Right.
I think that's awesome. I think some kids going to benefit that immensely. And now this is my favorite part of the show, man. And thank you again for those words, because obviously I wasn't ready for that. I wouldn't pop the Kevin Hart voice. I wasn't ready. But I appreciate that, because I learned
Yeah.
a lot from you. I think I learned more from you than it leads on. And but friendship, that's how it grows, that's how it starts. There's certain
Yeah.
things that happen between people. But this is my favorite part of the show, man. Baseballisms. I'm gonna give you one word. And when I give you this word, you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
All right, let's do it.
Triples.
oh, oh, running, running,
You had 3 straight years of 10 triples, man. How did you do that?
running. No, honestly, a big yard. I loved it. I love triple. I love people that triples are overrated. Not when I hit them though. When I hit them, they love. And plus, I felt the crowd though. The crowd, Detroit loved it. I'm gonna tell you like that. Curtis Granderson hit a lot of triples, and they loved it. Like, they loved to see somebody hit a ball in the gap. It was like when I hit a ball in the gap, when I looked at Brookins on first base, it's like we had this thing like, that's it was the look he gave me. It was just like, that's the one. Hey, put your head down. I felt that energy. So I loved it. Triples make me think of running though. Running. That's it.
It's not easy to do, kids. It's not easy to do. 3 straight years of 10 triples. And this next one, again, your mental fortitude, but I have to ask you because I think there's unfortunate parts, but injuries.
Oh,
That's a number one. But it can be the greatest destroyer and the greatest motivator.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you really kind of just hit it, really. But to take it a step further, yeah, as far as motivation goes, like when you get injured, that 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 is the biggest motivation. Besides somebody telling you probably can't do it, because well, when you get injured, not only are you hearing that you can't do it, but you're playing those mental games with yourself, and you having bad days and like, man, maybe I can't do this. So you're not only do you have other people doubting you, but there's a time going through rehab where you're gonna doubt yourself. I don't care who you are, because that's just the way it is. You know, you're just going to have a time during rehab or whatever it is that you're trying to come back from, where there, you're gonna have a little time where you doubt yourself, and that's the time where I feel like you really find it. You really find yourself, and you really bring something out of yourself that you don't know that you have. Because when I tore my ACL or my MCL, sorry, in 2016, I didn't think there would be anything where I would go through a rehab process. I'd be back and I'd be doing everything like it was normal, and that wasn't the case. I didn't have that took away some things in my game that I couldn't do. So injuries make me think of character, because that's that every time I've gotten injured, I've that built character within me, because I had to bring something out of myself that I didn't think that was there. Because once you get injured, like I say, you don't have that. You don't have that same, and then there's that doubt. Like, I don't think that I'll ever be able to do this like I did, which may be the case. But then when you hear other people say it, that's when that little fire is it's just a little, it's like, man, I don't think I can do. Yeah, well, you probably won't. Little fire, hold on, what did you say? That's what I needed you to say. I was doing that, so you would say that. Thank you. So what'd you say? Oh yeah, keep going. So I keep turning this fire. Okay. You don't think I got you? I wish you. You know what I'm saying though? Like it's like you need that fuel to just motivate you. So I think of character. I think of fuel. Injuries. That's what it makes me. I know I went the long way, but
No, man,
I had to touch on it.
that's absolutely beautiful, because I think you were coming off in 2016. You were coming off that injury, and you and I met in spring training, and we had spent so much time together. I mean, countless. We watched Russell Westbrook play when he was going for the record break, and he ended up what was it, 1 rebound short or something?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you remember that.
We went to there. We hung out so much, and I got to learn so much from you. And the first time in my career, I've been injured before. I broke my face in Detroit when Alex Rios slid into me. And that was, like you said, bringing character out. But the one thing that still to this day, the same day that you had an out, the Indians exercised your option and told you that you had made the squad. And that morning they told me that they were exercising that option and that I wouldn't be making the team. And I went to Milwaukee, and after my second double of the game, I was trying to run to third, and I tore my hamstring.
That's right.
That never happened before. I had never experienced an injury to that magnitude. I had been hurt before, but not to that magnitude. And all the conversations that we had, I remember I went right to that place. I was like, I'm not blaming nobody. I don't care who they chose. That is completely irrelevant, because this is a baseball field and there's room for all of us. And I got nothing for love for everybody, because especially you, because you poured into me and all that time. And then I had my first major injury and it was like I came back better than ever.
Yeah.
And so those words that you hit ring true, and they give me goosebumps because they were so true. They were so
Yeah.
true.
You right,
But
bro.
what about walk-offs? Because you hit a lot
Oh,
of them, man, including I want my listeners to know my man on David Wright's night, he ended the night right on David Wright
yeah.
night.
Yeah, man. That was like one of probably the one of my better walk-offs. I mean, I hadn't had a ton of them, but
You got
and
a
that's
good
why.
amount, though.
Well, that's why I can remember quite a few of them because it wasn't that many. But that was probably the most like, oh yeah, like that ball is land. That ball's getting down. Like we not playing no more. You know, the other ones were like down the line, dude dove but missed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, what like those where it's like, okay, yeah, now I can cruise. But that one was clipped and it was like, oh yeah, I got you in the gap. And that was my buddy that I went to high school with, so it made it even that much more
Pitching?
sweeter. Yeah, Javi Gray.
Oh,
That's my boy. That's my boy, man. He's still doing it, man. He's really good. But yeah, that was probably one of the better ones, just because of, you know, obviously the situation is David Wright night and being able to come up big on that night and against my boy, that was pretty sweet.
That's funny. I mean, because you're obviously a bona fide big leaguer in your own right, but talk a little bit about David Wright, man. I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about Jeter, and I think outside of that extreme back problem, I mean, he spent his entire career with New York.
Sure.
He's a face of the Mets.
Yeah.
What was it like playing with him?
Dude, like when I first got there, he wasn't around too much. I think that he was in rehab and trying to get back to where he could come back and play for the end of the season. So me personally, like I would look over there in his locker all the time, because like, dude, I watch David Wright, man.
It's hard. It's hard not to, man. It's hard not to.
He was that guy, he was that guy that, that captain, like you watch, like he wasn't like a captain that you could get tired of watching. Like, man, this dude trying too hard. It was almost like he didn't ask to be in that position. He just put himself there by what he did, his demeanor on the field, his manner, like everything that he did was like, this is the captain, like you the captain, bro. Like, Jeter, same way. Like, you're just the captain. You might not hit the farthest ball, but you just have this demeanor about you when the game is on the line. It doesn't phase you, that situation. And that's how David Wright was. And actually getting to talk to him, I got to ask him a lot of questions, man, about, his career and just when he was younger, when everything was going good, when he had injuries. And just the answers that he gave me, man, it was just so genuine. Like, it just felt like this is a human being talking to me, but a really good basically, like a really good
his
baseball.
Bat to ball skills were pretty high.
Dude, the dude was unbelievable, but he was really, like, to me, and what I got out of our conversations, he was just really big at staying within yourself. He was really big within staying within yourself and not trying to be somebody that you're not. Like, everything was, who are you as a player? Who are you as a person? Be that. Don't try to be something else. Because, at that time, me being traded from the Giants to the Mets, or really being signed by the Mets after being released by the Rangers, there's a lot of things going through my head right there and think, maybe I need to try this and try that. And then hearing David say something like that, just, it kind of put me at ease with who I was as a player, as a person. Like, what do I have to prove, to somebody to show them that I want to be out here? The way that I go about my business is the way I go about my business, no matter wherever I'm at. So I'm content with knowing that I'm myself and I'm playing like me. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to be nobody else. So he was a real one, man. He was a real one. He was a lot funnier than I thought he was gonna be. I thought he was gonna be this serious cat, bro, but he's very chill. And that's how man, I tell you, it's crazy. That's how the great ones are. They're not this, they're not this serious person all the time. Like, they're a human being, man. They're just really good at what they do.
I love that.
He was awesome, man. He was a guy that I really got along with too.
Yeah, you don't hear very many David Wright stories, and I think it's a shame because he's a really good player. The last one I got for you, World Series.
Oof, man. For me, I mean, I would say overwhelmed, not as prepared. If I'm just throwing words at you, and I say overwhelmed because for me, as as a young guy,
well, you were super young when you made it to your first World Series.
Yeah, man.
I was 24? 24 or 25, right?
24, 25. 25, I believe. Yeah, I was 25.
It was only your second year in the big leagues.
It was my third year.
Ah.
My third year. And I say overwhelmed because I wasn't, I was kind of caught off guard by, how the magnitude of what a World Series would really be like, bro. Like, it was everything that I imagined, but it was just, once you're in that situation, you're like, whoa, like, this is real. Like, it just felt like it was just this cloud over you, just, it was just magnified. Everything that you did, every movement, every throw, every swing, everything was just so magnified. So it felt overwhelming because it was just like, man, nobody else is playing right now. This is straight. This is us. And everything is being criticized. And like I said, everything is magnified because these are the only two teams playing. And I never really got a chance to take a step back and just like enjoy that moment because of, just that feeling of like, it's just happening so fast. And being sweeping the Yankees, man, and having that little bit of time off, as serious and as hard as we worked, you got a team still playing live baseball. You know what I'm saying? They still playing live baseball. And, to me, I don't know if anybody else will say this, but I just felt like that first pitch, because I'm leading off, that first pitch to me, I was like, man, this is real. I mean, ball up, all up here. Strike. I'm like, and then hearing, I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? Like, it was just.
Yeah, that's Latin baseball 101.
Bro, it was unreal, man, but it was like, that's where I wanted to be at. I wanted that, but it was like a very good experience that, that sometimes I wish would have been able to maybe happen later in my career.
Yeah,
just
no doubt.
I would have been at least more prepared from a mental standpoint, even though, I'm, you walking in there like, I got this.
Yeah. Well, you have to. You have to.
You don't got this.
Yeah, you can't go in going, you don't got this.
Yeah.
I don't got this. I don't got this.
I don't got this. I don't have this at bat.
Yeah.
No,
you can't say that. No. You have to trick yourself, and then the chips fall where they fall. I mean, right. at the end of the day, it took.
Good experience, though, man. It was a good experience. The outcome was not it, but the experience, you can't take that away, man. Like, you can take that with you forever. And, on paper, it can look however it can look. Like, we probably on paper had a better team than they did. But, dude, these dudes, let me tell you something. This team was ready to play. I tell this story all the time real quick, D. I looked over because I think I might have been one of the first ones out in the dugout in San Fran, and because I didn't want to just jump out there and they already calling lineups and stuff, and
Right.
it's a bit too much. Now I wanted to get out there and feel the vibe, feel the environment, everything. And guys started coming out, and then pretty much the whole team was out. And I remember I looked over in their dugout, in the Giants dugout, and everybody's in a group, and I'm like, what's going on over there? And all I know is I catch this right here. I see somebody's eyes like this, like I'm like, man, what's going on? I was like, Prince, hey man, hey, look at Hunter Pence and look at these dudes. Prince, look, he was like, man, they ain't talking about it. I'm like, bro, they are over there. These dudes.
So Prince was what was it? Was Hunter given like a pump up?
Bro, he had
speech.
He had them boys pumped up over there. He was, hey, no, and they was everybody was like, you see it.
It was like something straight out of a movie. It was something.
Dude, it was like a movie. I'm like, dude. I said, Prince, bro, look at them, man. They not playing. This is for real. They not playing, man. They good. They straight, man. Because that's his Prince personality. First of
all the time.
Prince
all the time.
You can't get here. He like, man.
All the time.
That's cool, and that's fine. But me, I'm looking like, bro, I ain't never seen nothing like this. This look like you said, a movie, man. It's not. And then for them to come out and spank us like that, bro, was pretty impressive, man, with the team we had, and going and ironically being able to play with the same guy, with a lot of the same guys that beat me, and just to hear that every day, I'm like, man, y'all just don't know, man. Y'all have caught us a few days earlier. We would have got y'all. They were good, man.
I love it, man. Well, this has been phenomenal. If there was someone that you could bring on this show, who could you bring on this show next for us?
Bro, I would try to get the big dog on here, Prince, man.
You want to get Prince out here?
I would try to. I can't make no promises, but I definitely.
Hey, man.
I'm just saying, man, because Prince is.
When we get off,
I learned a lot from him. So
when we get offline, we'll see if we can make that happen. Because fortunately enough, I mean, he was there when I was in Texas. He was my locker mate. So.
Oh, I forgot Pete,
we might be able to.
The dude, man. That's the
He's a good dude, man. But Austin, again, man, thank you for taking the time during this time. This was. I enjoy selfishly hearing the stories, and I hope some kids, some coaches, some people that are trying to make the game better in the future can take something out of this and make the game better than it is now.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, dude, for real, man. And anytime, though, you know I'm here, so thank you again.